Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the Millennial Mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 186th episode. What a milestone. It's such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. It truly makes it all worthwhile. I read all your comments and reply to all your questions. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. XEN. Also remember that all our episodes of A Moment of Zen stream 24/7 on Kathy Ireland and Your Home TV worldwide. Of course, you can always find us directly on our YouTube channel. In our Millennial Mom segment, today we're joined by regular podcaster Anna Devere, and today she is joined by the amazing Nastasha Pollard. Nastasha is a certified registered nurse and anesthesiologist right here in New York City. She recently co-authored and self-published her very first book called Puffy. She's going to join me today with Anna to chat all about self-love and celebrating differences. In the Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2Lift and our expert on the microphone series, we have two incredible experts who are leaders in the aesthetic industry, husband and wife expert duo Dan and Michele Julien, founders of Dan and Aesthetics in Ottawa, Canada. We're exploring how CO2Lift is revolutionizing pre- and post-medical procedures, diminishing bruising, reducing downtime, and enhancing healing outcomes. We're going to talk about how the CO2Lift vaginal treatment is proving to be a game changer in female sexual wellness as well. In the Polished Beauty segment, we're joined by our newest contributor, Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon and highly respected obstetrician and gynecologist. She's also the host and the creator of the Polished Beauty podcast. We're going to be featuring Dr. Eva Beaulieu, founder of Beaulieu Medical. They join me today to chat how Dr. Eva balances a thriving medical career, embraces strength and transparency on social media, which is a really difficult thing to balance, and how she helps demystify stigmas surrounding female sexual health. In the Hydration with Heart Express segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, Emily Hayden, podcast host, mentor, and personal coach, explores how our thoughts shape our reality and how to go from a disempowered state to an empowered state simply by shifting your perspective. Stay tuned for the Millennial Mom segment with author Nastasha Pollard, author of the children's book Puffy, chatting Embracing Your Differences and Loving Yourself. Coming up next, you're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
In business and in life, there's always an upside. Finding it is often the challenge. Having a mindset that looks for it and embraces problems as opportunities is the key to thriving. Finding the Upside with Maria de Lorenzis Reyes explores the transformative power of optimism, featuring visionary business owners, influential leaders, and inspiring everyday people. Tune in and see how they navigate changing conditions with optimism and innovation. Watch the special series One Tough Chick, highlighting resilient and powerful women, streaming on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Millennial Mom segment, today we're joined by podcaster and regular contributor Anna Devere, and she is joined by the amazing Nastasha Pollard. Nastasha is a certified registered nurse anesthesiologist in New York City, but she's always had a big imagination and passion for becoming a children's book author from a very young age. And in 2021, she did just that. She co-authored and self-published her very first book called Puffy. They're going to join me right now to chat all about this incredible book on self-love and celebrating differences. Welcoming now to the show is the amazing book author Nastasha and Anna. Welcome, superstars.
Thank you.
So excited to have you on, Nastasha. Let's dive right in and talk about this inspirational book called Puffy. It's a story about the ups and downs of an everyday friendship between a young girl and her hair. Now, your book is a reminder about celebrating differences. Talk to us about what made you want to write this book.
When I get to the root of it, it's definitely the possibility of impact. So we have Puffy here that pulls from one experience of mine as a little girl with curly hair. And it wasn't the most positive experience, but Puffy is an opportunity to change that narrative. Little girls with curly hair, they'll see themselves on the front cover, and they're really excited to read the story and now love on their curls. And you may have a little girl that doesn't look like Kayla or Puffy on the front cover of the book, that grabs the book up, reads it, and then has a discussion with her parents about the fact that people who look different than you don't need to be intimidated by, you don't need to bully them or judge them, that differences make us special and we need to celebrate our differences.
Well, this is amazing. So I want to keep talking about why this theme of embracing your natural hair is so important. And for centuries, societal standards of beauty have favored European features, the blue eyes, the light skin, the straight hair, which has subsequently excluded and marginalized every other race's features and deemed them lesser than, quote unquote, beautiful, right? An example of this is the natural hair of Black people. In fact, a survey exploring the experiences women have related to their hair found that Black women experience much higher levels of anxiety than white women regarding their hair, and 1 in 5 Black women feel social pressure to actually straighten their natural hair for work, which is twice as many as white women. And so when you look back, historically, Black women have been pressured to alter their hair due to these discriminatory and narrow beauty standards, which can be detrimental. I mean, so detrimental to one's self-esteem, especially as a little girl, which is why I especially applaud you, Nastasha, for creating this book for children, because it's of the utmost importance to teach them this lesson early on, to embrace their natural hair and ultimately who they are despite these societal standards. So congratulations. Very, very well done. Now I know Anna has some questions, so I'll hand it off to you, my dear.
Yeah, and I want to say that too, in a maybe a different way, that I love that Puffy's a character, and I know that the subject of hair is a lot deeper, it's a lot richer. I think, and just kind of bringing it all together and lacing it all together, can you just talk a little bit about how you hope to help everyone, even if they're a boy, and you sort of answer this, but even go a little further, if they don't look like the character in the book, what do you hope that will happen when they read this book?
I would tell everyone to fall in love with yourself. Puffy is a character, right? So what would your own hair say if it could talk? Would it say that you're constantly trying to hide me or change me? Or I don't feel like enough, or I don't feel as pretty. So, just love on your natural hair just as is. Love on yourself. Fall in love with yourself.
That's a great message. And I love particularly all of this self-love and the topic of self-love. It's so important these days, especially since it's estimated that roughly 85% of people worldwide, both adults and adolescents, have very low self-esteem. But I'm curious to know, what has the journey with your own hair been like? And has writing this book led you to any discoveries about yourself?
My younger self would be really proud of the woman I am today. She would look up to me. It's been a long journey. I started out going to school looking just like this. My dad would brush my hair up into a curly puff on top of my head. Kids would say my hair is too curly, it's too big, it's too puffy, it's too messy. I felt like my hair was ugly. It would make me have a lot of self-doubt, second guess myself. I would always feel like I gotta change this. This is not okay. And then years later, I finally kind of had enough, and I decided to love on my curls. I found my light, and I'm shining brighter than ever. I'm the most comfortable with myself that I've ever been. I'm the most confident in myself than I've ever been. I feel like that's allowed me to walk the world differently.
Well, again, I thank you for giving us an entry point into this topic, because I think I've shared with both of you that, well, I do have curly hair. It's straight for a reason today. But I've entered a classroom with a big name that sounded like a disease. Anastasia was just the bane of my existence when I had to change schools and stand there, and nobody knew that it was a cute Disney movie back in the day. So I mean, I feel like this is important for kids to understand differences, and that, we can have a conversation about just that and self-love. It's beautiful. And so you're now going into schools and talking to kids face to face. Can you talk a little bit about their reaction to your book?
The reaction's been phenomenal, not just inside the classroom, but outside the classroom. It's been very reaffirming that I'm exactly where I need to be, because kids think the book's funny. It ignites curiosity, conversations about self-love. A little girl came up to me and she was like, "Look at my puppy," pointing to her curly hair. And I was like, "Yes, it's beautiful." And then she goes and puts her hand up and rubs it and says, "It's okay, Puffy." And I'm like, wow, right after the story time, she's already talking to her hair and letting it know that it's okay, because it is okay. And then I was at Harlem Book Fair last weekend, and I had a woman who looked about my age walk up to my table hysterically crying when she saw my book. And she slowly takes her phone and turns it around and shows me a picture of her when she was a little girl with curly hair. And it was just like, you have no idea how much this book means to me, and I haven't even read it yet. I wish there was a book that looked like this, with a character that looked like me when I was younger.
I love it. And I know you've seen great success with over 2,000 copies sold, and it's in over 30 schools and businesses. But let's go back to the beginning. It's one thing to write a book, but it's another to get it published and out into the world. So you self-published your book, which I can assume was no easy feat. What was that process like? And did you learn anything about this process that you could share with potential book authors?
Self-publishing allows you to have a lot of creative freedom and creative control with the story that you want to tell. And that was probably my favorite part. But I also tell people, I told a mom this at a book fair last weekend in Brooklyn. She has a story she wants to share about her daughter and her coming to America. And I told her it is a lot of work. I think one of the hurdles with self-publishing is discoverability, which is why I'm so grateful to you guys having me here today on this platform to share Puffy and give it more of a voice so it can reach more little ones and parents and more people and more spaces. If you want your book to sell and you want your message to reach as many people as possible to make an impact, you really need to be anywhere and everywhere. So when I'm not providing anesthesia in the hospital or at outpatient surgery centers, I'm in the classrooms, I'm at the book fairs, I'm revisiting businesses to restock Puffy, I'm at home wrapping the books, shipping them at the post office, I'm sending emails to administrators, I'm updating our social media platform, our websites, you name it. It's a lot of hard work to self-publish, but it's brought me a lot of joy when you see the impact that your story is making and how excited people are to get their hands on your book.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Do you want to give a shout out? Obviously, you found a sense of purpose in this, and I love it. You want to give a shout out to your next book title, because I know you've got that one right up your sleeve.
Yes, I do. Thank you. So I'm working on another book now. It'll be my second book. I'm excited to bring all I've learned from self-publishing to this book. It is titled, "If You Don't Know, Just Ask." The inspiration is I'm just always very tickled in my interactions with kids and my classroom visits with the amount of questions they have and how curious they are about the world as they try to make sense of it. So this book really nurtures curiosity, exploring the unknown, problem solving, confidently asking questions, trying to find the answers. It reminds kids that asking questions isn't just about fact-finding, but that it can help others through compassion or empathy. So this book is a little boy. His name is Cal, and he loves asking questions, and he's really excited to share everything that he learned.
Wow. I can't wait to see this new book.
I know.
And when it's out next year, and you're going to have quite an impressive following by then, as if you don't already have that now, but you have an impressive career and already an anesthesiologist turned children's book author. I mean, that's a 360. And I want to commend you, because this experience, without a doubt, of writing and publishing these books, I can see has changed your sense of purpose from this very interview. And I'm so excited to see what's next for you. I know Anna has the very last question, but you have come such a long way, my dear. Congratulations.
My only question is, how do people get in touch with you? Where do you want us to go follow you, and what's coming next for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's next? Obviously, this new book, but in regards to Puffy, kids requested that I do a coloring book. So, I'm working on a coloring book for the book. Um, I also would love to get some sort of animation or maybe a doll made to go along with the book. And there is a magical hair oil in the book. So, I think it would be really cool to be able to partner with like a hair product company that I love, like Pattern Beauty by Tracy Ellis Ross, and encourage girls to love on their curls with these products. But yes, that's some of the. I have a lot of work to do, a lot of ideas, but that's some of the things that are next. If you are interested in getting a puppy book, you can follow me at the Puppy Story. www.thepuppystory.com is our personal website. You can find the book on Amazon, or you can email me if you're interested in a story time at thepuppystory@gmail.com.
Wow.
Beautiful.
There's so many different ways of getting in touch with you. Thank you so much for being here. You are a beaming light, and you are obviously going to be making a huge difference in the lives of many children to come, and really inspiring them to love themselves and celebrate love. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was our Millennial Mom segment, and that was the incredible Nastasha Pollard, author of children's book Puffy. Definitely head to her website, thepuffystory.com, and check her out on the gram at The Puffy Story. And of course, don't forget to head to Amazon Prime to get your copy of Puffy. Of course, check out our amazing Anna on the gram at Anna_Devere. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2Lift. CO2Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to CO2Lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift in our Expert on the Microphone series. Today, we're exploring how CO2 Lift is revolutionizing pre- and post-care medical procedures, diminishing bruising, reducing downtime, and enhancing healing like never before. Their proprietary line of products include the CO2 Lift vaginal treatment, proving to be a game changer and leader in female sexual wellness therapies. Joining us today, we have two incredible experts who are leaders in the aesthetic industry. Dan is a board-certified medical aesthetics nurse practitioner, entrepreneur, and founder of Dan Aesthetics Medical, which is one of the most rapidly growing and reputable aesthetics brands in Canada. He's educated over 1,000 physicians, nurses, and dentists on advanced aesthetic techniques through his educational platform. His passion for elevating the field is truly inspiring. And then we have Michele Julien, co-founder and business partner at Dan Aesthetics Medical, with over 20 years of experience in education, luxury brand management, and business development. They are a husband-wife duo. Her innovative vision has helped launch and grow the clinic into one of the most successful in the field. We're thrilled to have you both here today. Welcome to the show, superstars.
Thank you. How's it going?
Let's talk about how CO2 Lift products are truly changing the game when it comes to aesthetic procedures. This is your specialty. So Dan, before we dive into the specifics, I want to set the stage with some context for our listeners and viewers. So aesthetic procedures like neuromodulators and fillers and lasers are incredibly popular, with nearly 3.5 million neuromodulator procedures performed in the US in 2022 alone. And it's interesting because the global energy-based aesthetic device market, including the US, was valued at approximately $4.8 billion. So we know that this is very potent. But post-treatment downtime, bruising, and swelling still remain common challenges for patients. And this is where the CO2 Lift mask comes in, promising faster healing and better results. So Dan, can you explain how CO2 Lift products specifically benefit patients who seek laser treatments and energy devices, or for those who are undergoing microneedling? What's the science behind it, and how does it optimize or enhance these procedures?
Now, if you're getting down to the science, basically what happens is you've got like these two packages. I'm going to show you what they are. They're like these two gold packages. One of them has gluconate gluconolate, and the other one is magnesium carbonate. And basically, it's just two products that you mix together and it creates this gel. But the gel is actually medication. It's carbon dioxide. So that's why it's called CO2 Lift. And then basically you place it on the face. And what happens is your body literally infuses the carbon dioxide. And your body's supposed to be having this balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide. And when your body recognizes, hey, wait a second, we're getting a little bit too much carbon dioxide coming into the surface of the skin, your body has this compensation mechanism where basically it pushes oxygen-rich blood by dilating the blood vessels of the skin and the tissues around it, and it pushes this oxygen-rich blood to the surface. So if you think about it, what happens whenever you have more oxygen-rich blood to the surface? It's going to promote healing. A lot of people might not be aware, but whenever people go for plastic surgery, a lot of the plastic surgeons will place them in this chamber. It's called hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy. And what happens is in that chamber, they're pushing oxygen to that client, that patient. And the compression of oxygen helps them heal faster. And essentially, that's what this is. This is like a topical form of hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy. And you're placing it on the skin after whatever procedure to minimize bruising, and at the same time promote healing, and at the same time increase hydration so your skin just looks incredible afterwards.
That's a great trifecta. And speaking of quicker healing, statistics show that the demand for non invasive treatments is expected to grow by over 15% annually by the year 2030. And this is largely due to innovations like this, which minimize downtime. And that becomes more crucial than ever when you're evaluating if you want to do these procedures. Now, how do CO2 lift products help in reducing bruising and swelling post procedure? I mean, what have you seen with your own patients in terms of their recovery time?
So this is kind of like an elite product, right? So this product is going to be designed for people who want maximum, healing with low downtime. Typically, the healing process for a bruise is about 14 days. If you can significantly improve that or delay that or improve that healing time by dropping it to about 5 to 6 days, that's typically what we see whenever we're offering the CO2 lift.
Great. Yeah. Now, one of the reasons your clinic has been so successful is your focus on education and cutting edge techniques. And it's important for patients to feel confident. I mean, that's why they're getting the best care available, right? So, someone who educates physicians and practitioners, how do you incorporate CO2 lift products into your training? And really, how do you ensure the best patient outcomes?
I mean, everyone can absolutely use it, but you're going to usually have your elite clients wanting to jump in on this because there's a little bit of a cost for it, which is totally fine. But we give patients the option of like kind of like a good, better, best outcome. So if you have elite clients and they're saying, "Hey, by the way, like I want the best outcome possible." Well, let's say if you're looking at, laser therapy, if you're doing any type of laser, often enough, you're going to have some type of downtime, or if you're doing microneedling radio frequencies, sometimes you're going to have some downtime, maybe a little redness, maybe inflammation, maybe some, dark spots that are going to stay there for a while. But this can really significantly cut down your downtime. And at the same time, they're going to see visibly, like noticeably improved skin texture and quality and hydration right off the bat. So these clients who want the best of the best, this is who it's kind of like primarily focused for. Again, everyone can absolutely use this product. However, the clients who are going to say, listen, I want the best, just give me the best, that's what this is for.
Amazing. I love it. Now let's shift gears a little. Michelle, I know you've had a very hands on role in launching and growing Dan Aesthetics Medical, and your expertise spans everything from cosmetology to business strategy. But you're also a true advocate for CO2 Lift V, the vaginal rejuvenation treatment that truly is changing lives. And we know that vaginal health is essential. A 2018 study by the North American Menopause Society, and this was 2018, it's a long time, found that 50% of postmenopausal women experience vaginal discomfort. So I'm going to assume that the statistics are even higher. And this is an area where CO2 Lift V can make a huge difference. So, Michelle, can you share your personal experience with the CO2 Lift V and what improvements did you notice? I mean, how did it really benefit your vaginal health?
So a little backstory on me. I'm 41 now, but 2 years ago I had a full hysterectomy complete. So I have no more hormones. Dan probably makes more than me at the moment. All right, Ben, anyways. So all to say, it takes a long time to get back onto track after a surgery of that sort, to sort of like sort out your own system and to understand where you're sitting with your own hormones and your own health. Things change incredibly a lot in your 40s anyway, but having to be thrown into full-on menopause at that age is like a whirlwind of a hit by a train kind of situation. So everything takes a hit: your skin, all your head, like your emotions, everything. So when before and as trying to figure that out, and really understanding what menopause or hormones is like, I think it's difficult to sort of talk about it. But now, like you said, your stats are from 2018, but now I think in the last year in particular, there's a huge push for understanding what women are going through even before you hit menopause. I think that's even a bigger hit. Our clinic primarily is women. We have a lot of men as well, but women. And often enough, when they sit with me before they see Dan, we have a chit chat, and they know this of me because I don't hide the fact that I'm in menopause. And when they start sharing their story, we start talking about intimate conversations as to, like you say, vaginal dryness, painful sex, almost a disconnect with their partner because they don't understand what's happening with themselves, and it's difficult to get in to see physicians and to ask for help, or not even knowing that there is other options. So when this came to us, well, with this year, I got to have a treatment with the CO2Lift V, and it's been incredibly changing, actually, down to partner health, less pain on a daily basis, less dryness for sure. It's just been really a changer for that.
Wow, you're not alone.
No,
An
you know,
increasing number of women are seeking these treatments to regain their
yes,
confidence and their comfort. And up to 70% of women who experience vaginal discomfort, they don't seek treatment, often because they're not
no.
aware of the non-invasive solutions, or they find shame in addressing it or talking about it. So I
Yeah.
think what you're doing is extremely proprietary. Now, from your business perspective, Michelle, how have you seen the demand for vaginal rejuvenation evolve over the years? And are more women seeking out treatments like CO2 lift? Or what feedback have you been receiving?
Well, I don't know if you ever been to the pharmacy to see if, like, you have symptoms for yourself. Like, I experiencing pain. You go to the pharmacy, and it's usually for like an itch. Well, yes, that's a thing. But like when you're in pain and you don't know that there's options, whether it be hormonally in a medication or now this is fairly new to the market, and I don't think anyone really understands the magnitude of what it can do for you. I think it's imperative that women understand that we have a lot of options, well, more options now, and to chat about it, and nobody really chats about it still. So it's kind of new. I think women are kind of scared to talk about it until you sort of open the door and say, hey, this is here. That's been kind of changing for us.
On my end
That's
as well. So my background as a nurse practitioner, I used to do primary care before this, and in primary care, it's really interesting when it comes down to let's look at someone going through menopause, perimenopause. There are no tests for it.
No.
Like basically, the only diagnostic test that you can do is like a follicle stimulating hormone (FSH), and that hormone will only show that it's low once you're in full menopause. So if you're feeling it, if you're in perimenopause when you're experiencing these real symptoms, there's no test for it.
No.
You can do a bunch of other like luteinizing hormone tests and all that, but they usually always come back normal. And for primary care practitioners, such as nurse practitioners and physicians, and even PAs sometimes, they have to go, like the medical body really regulates what you're doing. So they're going to say, hey, you can't prescribe anything if they're outside of these, if they're within the norms. If they're outside of the norms, go ahead. But if they're in the norm and they're experiencing these symptoms,
Yeah.
that means the primary care providers are not going to really offer them anything. Most
No.
of the time, they offer them antidepressants.
Mhm.
So it's tough because people are kind of like shaming the physicians, but the physicians are like, our hands are tied. Like, what are we supposed to do? We can do this,
And
but
the
there's a little bit of a
patient is
risk for
tired
them.
as well. Like I went to my doctor and I told her how I was feeling, and she's like, well, there's nothing you can do. And then I found this, and I was like, wow, okay, this
Yeah,
is
so now you
different.
have an option
Yeah.
that's non-hormonal. It works.
Yeah.
Like I said, even if you're placing it on the face, it increases hydration by 117% visibly. Now imagine doing that intravaginally. You're
Yeah.
increasing hydration 117%, and you're actually, for me personally, through experience from sex, like there is an the difference is night and day.
I agree.
And that's without hormone. Now you can use that with or with complementary hormones, and it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clear that taking care of ourselves goes beyond just the surface. And these products
Correct.
are really, really empowering women to feel their best. And the more we talk
Yes.
about it, the more we can remove the stigma around,
Correct.
female sexual health or demystifying sexual stigmas. Now, lastly, Michelle,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to women who are on the fence about trying CO2 Lift V? What can they expect from the treatment, the process, and the results? What did it feel like? What did you immediately
Yeah.
notice different?
So I did 15 treatments. So it's 5 nights on, 2 nights off, 5 nights on, 2 nights off, 5 nights. It is a little gunky. Not going to disclose that it's not. It's not super glamorous. You have to sit for an hour. You can walk around, but it's kind of awkward. But it's an hour of me time, really. I got to sit and read or watch an episode of whatever I like. And that's it. Like, there's no downfall to it, really. It's just having to spend an hour on your own. And then,
Yes.
so that's a moment to really reflect. And the benefit, it takes away most of my symptoms. So why wouldn't you want to try? I
I
think it's
agree.
just to let women understand that they have another option and a quick option. Like, you don't have to wait for your physician to prescribe you an internal hormones. Now, it could be an adjunct, obviously, so there's different reasons for different things, but this is something, a starter point anyway, to get you going, and then seek more if there's more other things happening.
You know what's
Yes,
crazy?
I couldn't agree
Yeah.
more.
You know what's crazy? Men can also use this
Yeah.
as a vasodilator if they want to put it on their penis. So if they're experiencing erectile dysfunction, right? Maybe it's because they're not getting quite the amount of blood flow as they were before. You literally put it on your penis, let it sit there, and it works like Viagra. It's crazy.
It's
So the other thing you
yeah.
can do too, which a lot of people are doing, is their partner Michelle will put it in, keep it in there for 45 minutes to an hour, and then after that we can have sex with it inside, and it's completely fine and it's great.
Yes, and I love that you guys are a husband-wife duo who can really consult your patients from your own perspective and
Perspective, yeah.
from your own experience. We are at the end of this incredible, very transparent, very informative session. I can't thank you both enough for coming on and chatting with us. It's truly, truly heartwarming to see how you guys work so nicely together.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We know that you said you've been married for quite some time. We've been married for 19 years.
19, yeah.
It's gonna be 19. It's crazy. So
Yeah.
we've been together, 25 years, and honestly, it definitely has had an impact on us with our sexual relationship, and
Professionally as well.
professionally, it definitely
Our
has as
clients
well.
are-
So clients are happy, we're happy, everyone's happy. It's a good
Everyone's
product.
happy. Thank you for tuning into the Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. This is 710 WOR, the voice of New York, and I'm Zen Sams. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to CO2Lift.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by the Polished Beauty Podcast with Dr. Daisy Aim. Hey, ambitious women, ready to shine on the inside and out? Tune in to the Polished Beauty Podcast, where we talk about business, beauty, brains, and body all in one spot. Meet Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon, pro-aging advocate, fitness enthusiast, and your go-to for real talk on leveling up every part of your life. The Polished Beauty Podcast is your dose of ambition meets empowerment. For more information, head to polishedbeautypodcast.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in the Polished Beauty segment, we're joined by our newest contributor, Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon and highly respected obstetrician and gynecologist. She's also the host and creator of the Polished Beauty Podcast. I'm so excited to be featuring today the amazing Dr. Eva Beaulieu, founder of Beaulieu Medical, a dedicated practice focused on patient care and wellness. Alongside her thriving practice, she's a wife, mother of 3, social media influencer, and author of Paging Dr. You and Tell Me Where Does It Hurt? She's committed to inspiring minority women pursue careers in medicine and embrace a healthy, balanced lifestyle. Today's discussion dives into how Dr. Eva balances a thriving medical career, embraces strength and transparency on social media, and breaks taboos around women's health, challenging the norms and inspiring a new generation. I'm your host, Zen Sams, and today's Polished Beauty segment is indeed all about empowering women through business, beauty, brain, and body. I'm joined by my amazing co-host now, Dr. Daisy Aim. Welcome to the show, superstars.
Hey, welcome. Hi, Dr. Ava.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
It's our pleasure.
So Dr. Ava, thank you so much for joining. You've built quite an impressive career in medicine, all while maintaining a busy personal life, and you've been very transparent about this on social media. And interestingly enough, a Doximity report revealed that around 70% of doctors are now active on social media, using it as a tool to connect with patients and the public. So this is definitely a generational shift, as doctors traditionally kept their personal lives private. What impact has your social media presence had on your business, and how do you feel it helps foster a more engaged and trusting community?
Well, I started my social media journey, believe it or not, around 2019, so a little bit before the pandemic started. And a lot of people start write things on a journal to inspire themselves. I just started my journey on social media as a way to inspire myself by putting out positive things out there and then going back and reading it and inspiring myself. And I got a pretty good response from other people about it. And that kind of made me continue to just put things out there because I like to inspire, to educate, and empower women. And that's really, in a nutshell, how I started my social media journey. Not too long before the pandemic. And right around the pandemic was when a lot of people were curious about what was happening. They had questions about the virus and a lot of things happening with the frontliners. And so a lot of doctors were putting more things on social media than before.
Okay, Dr. Daisy, this is a perfect time for you to come in. As someone who's been in the field just a little bit longer, you've seen the landscape change. And now, historically, doctors kept a certain level of privacy, but today, transparency is key to connecting with a modern audience. I'm curious, how do you see this shift in openness on social media among doctors, and how has it affected your practice and relationships with patients?
I've been practicing for 17 years. So I have had an established business, never was online, didn't really know anything about social media. And it really didn't come into my radar in 2020 when everybody was sitting at home, or I was sitting here in my office and I could only do obstetrics and everything else in my practice was shut down. And I was like, oh, there's social media. And the irony is that in my practice, I actually had on my manual, my staff, you're not allowed to be on Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, because I saw it as it's not good for the practice, for whatever they do off the practice, they brought it here. And I just didn't like that energy. And I was like, no, none of that in the practice. So I was very much like, keep that abreast. Let's focus on the work, focus on the patient. And then 2020 happened. And I was like, oh, what is this thing? What is Instagram? What is that? And for me, it's been 4 years now? I'm embracing it, but not, I think, to the extent like Dr. Eva or other younger doctors, where I just see they're completely, everything is out there. And to each to his own. My personality, I think I'm more reserved.
So
Yeah.
Dr. Ava, okay, so following up on that, what advice would you give to younger doctors who are navigating exactly this, the fine line between sharing just enough to build trust with their audience and keeping some parts of their lives private?
I think setting clear boundaries, trying to figure out exactly what are you trying to accomplish with your social media account. You can still be authentic while at the same time not having to share everything about your personal life. And so setting up those clear boundaries about what it is that you're trying to convey, what it is that you're trying to do with your social media page will really make things a lot clearer for people trying to navigate that world. Also, making sure that HIPAA, we still have HIPAA, we still have patient confidentiality. So you don't want to care too much about patient's identity, age, or anything that can be identifiable to a patient, because that can get you in trouble. But I still think that social media is more positive than negative. because you have a way of reaching out to a broader audience. You have a way of teaching more people and showing more people what it's really like to be a woman who's a professional, who's trying to manage multiple facets of her life, who's trying to raise a family, who's trying to have a business, who's trying to see patients. So um, I think it's a lot of positive trying to show the younger generation what it's like to be able to maneuver all of these things and do it well.
I think I call social media the yellow pages of today's time. And the yellow pages is creating content constantly. In our time, the yellow page, you just write your office and your location and the phone number, and that was it. Now you have to create content and keep it going. And, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of positive in it if you approach it the right way, use it in the right form, in the right medium. But staying true to yourself, I think, really boils down to a personality, And I think for me, it's funny because I see some of my patients on social media. They've known me for 17 years. I have to be the same doctor they've known and the same person online. I can't all of a sudden come with this. I call it whatever, Sasha Fierce personality. It's like, wait a minute, that's not you, Daisy.
You did. It's true. And speaking of balance, you're also an author, right? So I'm going to go back to this, and a dedicated professional in the medical field. And according to Medscape, we have about 45% of physicians that report burnout. So this is a severe thing. Women are more prone to it than men. How do you manage to balance the demands of your medical career with your personal life and creative outlets? Because you're also an author.
Well, it comes down to really trying to cultivate the multiple sides of me. I always say that medicine is what I do and medicine is not who I am. I'm still me. I'm still a girly girl who likes to travel, who likes to go out with my friends, who likes to spend time with my family. I also have passions for my patients. And so trying to cultivate the multiple personalities that I have without feeling bad about it, and knowing that it's okay. It's normal to want to have a life outside of medicine and not feel ashamed. I think there's a stereotype out there where people think that once you go into medicine as a woman, your life is over. You're not going to have time to do anything. You're not going to have time to have a family if that's what you wish to do. You're not going to have time to do anything outside of medicine. And I want to break that mold and show people that it's not true, because I'm living proof that you can still be a successful physician and still have a successful personal life as well.
Yeah, I think in general, medicine was very traditional in this outlook on women and basically put women in this narrow box, And I think it's really nice to see this young female surgeons just being out there. And I say surgeon because that's the one specialty in medicine that was the most restrictive for women to do certain things. So when I see these young female surgeons on social media going out and just putting all the different facets of themselves, I'm like, yes, that's how it should be.
Yeah, you guys speak the same language. Now, many women still feel uncomfortable discussing sexual wellness, even with their doctors. But I want to really address this because this is at the heart of it all. Dr. Ava, you have an incredible practice. How do you approach these conversations in your practice? And what steps can other doctors take to help remove the stigma surrounding female sexual health?
I think as physicians, a lot of times, and it's part of the training, they teach you to suppress your other sides of you and to just remain that professional, which is important. But at the same time, you are also human and you have to learn how to connect with your patients that are standing in front of you. So what I do is I try to just lower my guards, um, cultivate trust, because that's also very important, cultivate relatability, and just letting my patients know, look, I'm human just like you.
I think it's easy too when you have a solo practice or you're in a private practice, because you're a physician. If you're employed by a hospital or you have a group practice, your time is kind of limited because your expectation and admin and all these core measures you have to meet. And sometimes it interferes with that patient-physician relationship and time available to really bond and give them what they want. But, when you're in a solo practice or a private practice, it's a bit different. You kind of set the tempo and the speed and the time with that particular woman to address her sexual needs. And my experience here, it's like when they're coming here, they know they're seeing a gynecologist. I think it's a little bit different because that conversation is already about that area. So they are more relaxed and at ease to ask the question. And then you, the surgeon or the physician, determine how relaxed they will be when it's one-on-one. Do they feel like they can just talk to you, or they have to hide back their feelings?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I want to go back to addressing something that is, I think, extremely important that I've noticed is something that you both are very well known for doing. So let's talk about strength training. It's such an empowering activity for women. Dr. Ava, how has this impacted your health? And what would you say to women looking to redefine their strength through physical activity?
I think when I left residency, I really wasn't the person that I am today. I was drenched in medicine 24/7. I would come home and still have notes to write, emails to answer. And then one day I decided that I wanted to set some boundaries. And those boundaries included leaving work at work and coming home to focus on my family, and also finding time for me. As women, we are so used to putting everybody else first. We don't put ourselves first. And being a physician means even more of that, because you thought that your patients come first, your family comes second, and you come last. And I didn't want to do that anymore. And so that's when I decided to put some time for me on my schedule, because on my schedule, the kids had a space, my husband had a space, even my pets had a space. I had no space for me. And so I decided to put gym time into my schedule. And over time, I realized how amazing it was for my mental and my physical health.
Wow, that's really good. I think one of the reasons why I went into private practice solo, not group, for that reason alone, because I was in control of my plan and my time. So I could easily say, okay, today I'm going to leave the clinic at 3 because I have to go and pick up my daughter, or I have to do this with her, or have to do something. And I didn't have to talk to anyone. It was just me. So I determined the flow of my practice, the flow of my schedule. And the irony is that your patients, when they know that it's only you, they always see you, they are understanding. And that's what I learned was a secret sauce with this, was even with the OBGYN, I have to go deliver, they understood. They're like, you know what? I know she's my doctor. I'm going to wait. And it was just a different feeling. And I'm grateful that I didn't have that, join a practice or join a hospital. And along the way, have to be like, oh God, my time is taken. I have nothing left. Never experienced that. And I hope not to.
Yeah. Now, one last question here, or maybe two last questions if we have time. Mentorship is such a key part of growth in any field, without a doubt, but especially in medicine. How do you mentor younger women in the field? And what's your message to those facing barriers as they try to build their medical careers?
I just think that it's very important to be as relatable as possible and as honest as possible about the journey. Because I see a lot of people on social media only showing the positive, the good parts, and not talking about the negative and the bad parts. So I just want to let the younger generation know that, yeah, it's a fulfilling career. It's amazing to take care of other people and help them along their journey. But then at the same time, there are a lot of roadblocks. There's a lot of barriers. There's a lot of ups and downs, and that is a part of the journey. And so by putting that out there, I'm just setting the tone to let them know that they're not alone in facing whatever they're facing. And I'm also very open. I answer my DMs, I answer my emails, I get on the phone with people. Sometimes I get on Zoom calls when I can, and I answer as many questions as I possibly can to kind of help them along their journey. We need more women in this field, especially minority women. And so I'm hoping to, switch that stereotype out there so that more of us could be in this field in the near future.
Yeah, I think that's really good what you're doing, Dr. Eva. I mean, I really commend, I say, the younger social media doctors, because in our time, if you did half of what was going on now, you'd be written up or getting some calls somewhere. Next thing you know, you're in some big trouble, right? But I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to write your book? And how did you find the time to dedicate and create that creative juice out of it?
So, Paging Dr. You, a step-by-step guide to becoming a doctor, is literally a guide written in very simple words for any kid that's even as young as 12, because after I left residency and looking back at my journey and a lot of things that I had to go through, I thought were normal, that they made you think was normal, were not normal. And also looking back, there weren't a lot of people that looked like me, right? And so I wanted to kind of change the narrative. Again, why is that? It's not because we're not smart. It's because I feel the system is meant to fail us. And that's truly what I feel. And I wanted to write a simple guide to let others know exactly what they need to do as early as possible to position themselves for success.
Very nice. I just have one thing before you go. Okay. So the tagline for the podcast is where ambition meets empowerment. So the one question I have for you is, what is the one bold step you have taken in your career or life that truly embodies your ambition and empowered you to get where you are today?
Probably the realization that I matter. You know, I think throughout my whole career, it was more so everybody else matters more than you. Your patients matter more than you. Your family matters more than you. Everything else. So you thought to just be out there and serve and serve and serve and not accept anything in return. And so when I realized that I mattered, I started making some changes. And a lot of those changes included putting some time for myself, utilizing my resources and not doing everything by myself, including nanny services, people to come and clean the house, anything that would free up some of my time, and also being okay with saying no. Because I didn't know how to say no before. And now I can say no a lot easier, which is very empowering for me.
Nice.
Well, we are officially at the end of this incredible interview. Thank you both so much for joining. It's been incredibly inspiring speaking to the both of you.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
That was the Polished Beauty segment, and that was the amazing Dr. Daisy Aim. Definitely head to her website, drdaisyayim.com, and on the gram at Dr. Daisy Aim. And you can learn more of the Polished Beauty podcast at polishedbeauty.com. And without a doubt, do not forget to follow the incredible Dr. Eva Beaulieu. You can check her out on Instagram at dr.evab. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by the Polished Beauty Podcast with Dr. Daisy Aim. Hey, ambitious women, ready to shine on the inside and out? Tune in to the Polished Beauty Podcast, where we talk about business, beauty, brains, and body all in one spot. Meet Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon, pro-aging advocate, fitness enthusiast, and your go-to for real talk on leveling up every part of your life. The Polished Beauty Podcast is your dose of ambition meets empowerment. For more information, head to polishedbeautypodcast.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.
Hi, I'm Emily Hayden. I'm the host of the Evolve with Emily podcast, personal coach and mentor. Now, we've all had those seasons in our life where it feels like nothing is working out. You don't get the job, the relationship doesn't work out, and it feels like the things around you are crumbling. This can feel like a very disempowered place to be in if you have the core belief and if it's part of your language and thought process that nothing works out for me and the world is against me. I know that it can feel that way when you are just getting disappointment after disappointment, but let me tell you what, you allowing that to be a part of your language and your thought process is actually keeping you stuck in this disempowered place. So today I'm here to help you move into an empowered place that can create a different reality for yourself. Now, the way that we can do that is by shifting that belief that nothing works out for me Two, now having this affirmation and belief that everything is always working out for me. What this does is it spikes curiosity and a potential hope for the future. So in a real life example, it would look like you don't get the job or you get fired from the job. One way of navigating that in the disempowered place would be, nothing ever works out for me, this always happens. And that feels heavy, it feels frustrating. And being in a heavy, frustrated place is not going to allow you to take positive, inspired action. Now, you could go through the same exact example of losing the job and instead say, wow, I wonder how this is working out for me. Because you have the core belief it's always working out for me. Now you're curious and you're interested. I wonder how. I wonder what is next for me. I wonder what this is preparing me for. I wonder why space is being created in my life right now. I wonder what incredible job opportunity I'm going to get next. And I wonder how the job that I just had actually prepared me for where I'm going next. So you see how simply a shift in your thought process and your beliefs can create an entire different thought process, which allows you to show up differently for yourself. It allows you to show up in an empowered, excited, curious place. Your energy truly does dictate the way you think, the way you speak, and the way that you show up in your own life. So today, I hope that you guys will really think and analyze, am I in a disempowered place or am I in an empowered place? And if you're in the disempowered place, we've all been there, but now this is your opportunity to check yourself. What are those root beliefs, those core beliefs that you have that are dictating the way that you see what it is that you're going through? And could you invite yourself into more of an empowered place so that you can take inspired, aligned action and get excited, curious, and hopeful for your future. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And if you'd like to check me out on the podcast platforms, just search Evolve with Emily. Have a wonderful day.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
The Kelly Williams Show is brought to you by Serendipity Yacht Cruises and Events. Tune in and turn on your happy. Kelly Williams is full of energy and incredible guests. Watch her anytime, free programming on Your Home TV network, and do follow her on social media for a chance to win monthly prizes. Check out The Kelly Williams Show on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. We are at the end of our date. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on Your Home TV and Kathy Ireland worldwide. You can head directly to our channel, mox.yourhometv.com. It's free programming to you. Thanks again for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make the show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. We'll be back next week.